As I'm sure you've all heard by now, FM25 has been cancelled. It's a huge shame, and whilst we could sit here and moan about it, we've already done that in a previous video, and now at this point, we've kind of got to move on and just deal with the consequences left with us by the Sports Interactive team, where we're likely now not going to see a Football Manager game till the end of the year at the earliest, and even then, who knows how it's going to happen after everything that we've seen recently. And with that, we're now left with FM24, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to get stale, because today we're going to show you a brilliant download as well as something else a little bit later in the video, which you can add to your game, all super easy to do to make it feel as real to life as FM25 would have been. Now, I'm not talking a new engine, I'm not talking women's football, but pretty much everything else that you might want from a new Football Manager game, we can get you today with a few easy clicks. And in this video, I'm going to kind of break it down into two parts. Our first focus is going to be on the brilliant fmtransferupdate.com, and then I'll show you something that you can find on the FMSCOUT website, and that will help you take your game even further and hopefully boost the longevity of FM24 to help you bridge that gap between now and the new game. But let's get back to the first thing I want to cover, Football Manager Transfer Update on the fmtransferupdate.com website, which you'll find linked in the description down below. Now, on this website, you're going to find a download that is fantastic. It's got all the latest transfers from World Football updated for a single button click, really. You're going to download this, move it into a folder, and suddenly you'll have up-to-date transfers, not just from the summer window, but from the most recent January transfer window, which obviously is great in trying to make your game feel a little bit more lived in and more realistic to the real life world. Now, a quick mention of fmtransferupdate.com. It's a brilliant team of people, and we've highlighted them plenty of times in the past. They make a fantastic download, and if you want to be part of their team, all you need to do is register, and you can suggest changes yourself. They'll go through an approval chain, but if you know of a transfer that's happened that they might not have on here, you can get it recommended. But most of the transfers that you can possibly think of in World Football have been covered. I mean, I don't even know all of these players, and they have got them in their transfer download. And how do you get this, you might ask? Well, all you need to do is click the download button, at which point you'll be presented with 3 options. Now, let me just quickly break them down to you. There is one option that allows you to support the website financially. €7 a year is what they're charging here for the premium version, which gives you the latest changes, a live download, no ads, and a mention in the Hall of Fame. That really does just help support the creators here on the FM Transfer Update website. And it will let the FM Transfer Update team know that you appreciate them. I mean, you might spend 40 odd quid on a new Football Manager game, so £7 a year is not the worst thing in the world at all. But if you don't want to pay, you can still get this download, fear not. They publish a regular repack on the website available for download. As you can see, there was the last one on the 7th of February. I'm recording this on the 9th of February, so we are pretty much up to date in terms of what you can get in transfers here, and all you need to do is hit that download button should you want the file. But there's also a separate download as well. That will give you Pros Data Pack, which combines the FM Transfer Update download with a bunch of extra additional stuff that is all fantastic you can check out. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of those files a little bit later, so don't worry too much about that right now. Let's just imagine you just want the daily repack. All you're going to do is hit download. Once you do that, naturally, the file will download. It's a very small file, and all you need to do is navigate to wherever you found your downloads in your file explorer and move it to the correct folder in Football Manager. Now, I'll leave a written version of what it is down below for Windows. If you're on Mac or anything else, then feel free just to search on the internet how to add files to Football Manager, and you'll find plenty of things out there. It's all pretty simple and easy to do, but basically drag your download into the editor data folder and you're pretty much good to go. And if you don't believe me that it's that easy, then stick with me, because in this video a little bit later on I'll show you the results of that download and exactly how your FM25 game can look. But before we do that, let's talk about the other thing that I wanted to cover in this video, which is our FMSCOUT FM24 to FM25 DLC. It's an unofficial DLC, completely free of course, but this combines the work of a notorious pro who we mentioned earlier about his data pack, Sir Tavares, and fmtransferupdate.com to combine some of the best modified files around for your FM game all into one easy to download button here on the FMSCOUT website, which again I'll link in the description for you. And by downloading this, you don't just get a transfer update. In fact, there's plenty of things included in this download that you can choose to not use or use however you like. You can pick and choose what you want out of this file to be included in your game. But But like I say, it's not just a transfer update. We also have promotions and relegations. So all the teams that you want to be in the correct leagues will be there. We've also got competition changes from the Notorious Pro, and Sir Tavares' brilliant new wonderkids file, which does exactly what it says on the tin. You get new wonderkids. If you want to play with someone like, I don't know, Chido Obi Martin, you can find him in game amongst plenty others. There's also ability changes in this file as well. Should you want to include that, players that should be better in game will be better. The likes of Cole Palmer, who likely would have got upgraded for FM25 and whatnot, will be in there. You've also got other files that you can include should you want it, like no injuries and suspensions. So injuries from 23-24 season and suspensions too aren't carried over, because of course they wouldn't be if you were playing FM25. Those injuries and suspensions are from years ago. And there's also the ages +1 and contract expiry date file that will do as it says on the tin really. It will raise everyone's age by 1 and also lower the contract expiry date of every contract by 1, making it as close to real life as possible. Now, we couldn't change the in-game clock in Football Manager to say 2024, it will still say 2023, but everything else that you could possibly want in terms of updated transfers, new wonderkids, ability changes, and ages and contracts being reflected will all be there. And once again, this is as simple to download as the one on the FM Transfer Update website was. All you're going to do, hit the download now button, that'll take you to a download screen that looks exactly like this. From there, you'll get a download produced. If you don't, click this orange button to download it manually, and then you will have another set of files for your editor data folder. It goes in the exact same place as the transfer update one. Now in this file on the FMSCOUT website, we include the most recent transfer update from February the 7th, but of course, if you're watching this in a month's time and that is still the same, head on over to the FM Transfer Update website, take the download for the transfers from there, and opt to use that file over the one you get from the FMSCOUT website, because it will be a little bit more up to date. Maybe, I don't know, some transfers happen in Turkey or something that you want to have reflected. So by combining these two add-ons, like I say, you're not getting a new engine, you're not getting women's football or any of the changes you might have got with FM25, but you will have a game that feels like it's in the current football world. So if you still enjoy FM24, if you still enjoy playing it and you want some new challenges, then this is what you want to do. I mean, personally, I make plenty of saves in Football Manager, I've done so many rebuilds, and having these transfer updates, sometimes even having one that's maybe 3 days later than another, it can completely change the course of a save. For example, let's take Cesare Casadei as a player to look at. He is someone that in-game before, he'd stay at Chelsea for 5 years, never play, and would leave as a free agent. But now that he's moved to Torino, he starts at Torino in your saves. For that reason, he plays football, he gets really good, and in my latest rebuild, within a couple of years, he was one of the world's best midfielders, and it just shows you how slight changes to the world that you're living in Football Manager can completely change the way that your saves go. So once you've got everything in the right folders and you launch Football Manager, it's all super easy from here. All you're going to do, click Start a New Game, as you can imagine. Just to make that clear though, any of these changes I have told you today need to be on a new save. It doesn't make sense to be able to put a transfer update into a save that's 5 years on the go, so I'm sure none of you thought that anyway, but yes, it does have to be a new save. And then what you want to do is click this database button up here before you go and choose your game mode and your team and whatnot, and make sure whatever you want from that file is ticked. If you don't want the new wonderkids, you don't need to have them. If you don't want the transfer update, the most recent one, you don't have to have them. In my case, I've got 2 downloaded, one from the FM Transfer Update website and one from the FM Scout pack, so I'm just going to untick one of those. Maybe you don't want Turkey competition changes, untick that if you want to. Whatever you want to add to your game, even if it is just that transfer update, this is where you turn it on, hit confirm, and then go ahead and start your save. Here you go, I've just launched into a save with Spurs, and you can see Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, all in the Premier League. All the relegated teams have been relegated, but of course, the thing you're mainly here for, the January transfers, the likes of Kevin Danzo. He's in on loan here at Spurs, and this was a deal that happened later on in the window. He's joining permanently at the club after that loan. There's also Matthias Tell, who is here for the season, of course, from Bayern Munich, amongst plenty of other changes. It's not just Spurs, obviously. Any transfer that you can possibly think of has likely been affected by the transfer update, and it really does just help make FM24 feel a little bit more like FM25. But for those of you that are still looking for some new ideas to keep this game fresh, make sure you keep an eye on the FM Scout channel, because we're going to be making videos about some of the best challenges and saves that you can do to really keep this FM25 game going for as long as possible. If you're enjoying the game, we've got plenty of things to keep you enjoying it until we see the next game come out, whenever that may be. But thank you for all your support so far here on the channel over the whole course of FM24, as long as it's been. We'll continue the videos, we'll keep it up, so thank you for everything. Make sure you smash the like button for us, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.